Hello students, welcome again to your social studies class. From the previous two sessions, we have been discussing about how diversity or differences, be it individual or community differences, is leading to discrimination. We have come across the different terms like prejudice, stereotype, discrimination, inequality, the effects of these and ways to overcome them. Today, let's cover the last two topics of our chapter, that is, inequality and discrimination, and how Indian Constitution accepts diversity in various fields. Inequality is basically unevenness. Unevenness in the case of social position, income, power, educational attainment, and so on. Equality and inequality are not merely subjects of scholarly interest, but also matters of everyday concern, since there is inequalities between classes, races, caste, gender, and so on. Inequality is not always man-made. It could be due to varying differences of physical and mental capacity of aptitude, skills, efficiency, and talent. There are many forms and aspects of inequality. Hence, like prejudice and stereotype, inequality also leads to discrimination. In simple words, inequality means differences in the treatment.
Inequality and discrimination. Discrimination is the practice of unfair treatment of a people or group on the basis of some prejudices or stereotypes. Let us discuss few of them. It can be based on gender, race, religion, and age. Economic discrimination. It is defined as the disparity in economic backgrounds of rich and poor. Poor people are generally unable to meet their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. They are treated badly because of their unequal economic conditions and thus experience discrimination everywhere. Gender discrimination. It results from the belief that one gender is superior to the other. Caste discrimination. In our society, activities like cleaning, repairing shoes, cutting hair are considered as low-level work and thus given less value. In some places, they are not even allowed to enjoy their basic rights.
Inequalities can be of various kinds. Number one, inequality can be due to caste distinctions. The early Aryan society was divided into four varnas. We already know them: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. In the beginning, the social structure was based on occupation. However, it became hereditary with the passage of time. It led to social mischief and caused the feeling of inequality. Second, inequality is also due to religious differences. Forgetting the true worth of religion, certain extreme elements began to praise their own religion and preach hatred for others. India was partitioned on the basis of religion. There is thus no denying the fact that religious differences lead to inequality. Third, sometimes the cause of inequality can be result of gender disparity. It is said that women in India on an average are paid less than 40% of what men are paid. Gender ratio in India is considered the lowest in the world. Both economically and health-wise, women in many countries of the world are discriminated against. Infant mortality is more among girls than among boys. All such differences based on gender give rise to inequality.
Gender inequality doesn't make sense on any level. By marginalizing the rights of women, we deny ourselves the opportunity to lift millions of men, women and children out of poverty, not to mention the chance of a just and fair world. From birth, girls and boys, women and men are expected by society to play certain roles and behave in certain ways based on traditions, religion, and other beliefs. These behaviors are learned and shape the gender norms in a society. Unfortunately, in many countries, gender norms create disadvantages for women. Often, girls are not sent to school. When they become women, they then have limited ability to earn money or realize their potential. Rural women play a major role in agricultural development. However, in many developing countries, women cannot formally own land. Without land, they cannot get loans to invest in their farms or businesses. This also means they have no control over the use of land or the benefits that come from it. Men generally control the household decisions, like how to use the family's assets. These disadvantages are often reinforced by practices that limit women's access to services, like training. Cultural beliefs can also restrict women's opportunities, such as in parts of Zambia where women cannot paddle their boats as it is considered bad omen. The result of these issues? Women remain poor, and agricultural production cannot reach its potential, perpetuating poverty and hunger in the developing world. The social norms that limit women's opportunities need to be understood and then changed. By taking a gender transformative approach, we can influence social norms and bridge the gaps in access to resources and services between men and women in a lasting manner. Change is needed on many levels, and both men and women must be involved for it to happen. Research and development organizations need to invest in programs that promote gender equality alongside improving productivity and incomes. Policies need to be implemented that increase women's access to services and resources. Communities need to support women as farmers and as leaders. Increasing women's voice and agency is a valuable end in its own right. When development organizations, policies, and communities support the success of women, we have a chance to reduce extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity for girls and boys, women and men around the world.
Fourth, racial differences also cause inequality. For a long time, there was a racial difference between the whites and the blacks in United States of America. In the recent past, there was also racial discrimination in South Africa. One thing is common in all the differences based on caste, religion or race: it breeds contempt and inequality. The different forms of inequalities, whether caste inequality, religious inequality, race inequality or gender inequality, give rise to discrimination, which proves very harmful for the society.
In our everyday life, we come across many incidents that make us wonder if equality actually exists in our country. For example, government hospitals in India are mostly visited by the poor, and even when critically ill, they have no choice but to stand in long queues. Due to their poor economic background, these people cannot afford the high fees charged by private hospitals, and so they experience inequality. apart from economic background, people are sometimes treated unequally on the basis of their religion, gender, and caste. For instance, people belonging to minority communities often face problems in getting a house in the locality of their choice. Women too are paid less than their male counterparts for the same job. For example, female players in national and international tennis or cricket matches are paid much less than their male counterparts. A famous Dalit writer, Om Prakash Valmiki, wrote about caste-based discriminations faced by him in his autobiography, Jutan. Valmiki was made to sit on the floor of the classroom and was beaten up many times without any reason. He was also made to sweep the school playground because of his caste. This discrimination on the basis of religion, gender, and caste hurts the dignity and self-respect of an individual. Surprisingly, India is not the only country that has struggled for equality. In the United States, the Afro-Americans were treated unequally for many years. When traveling in public buses, they either had to sit at the back or give their seat to a white person. In 1955, Rosa Parks, an Afro-American, refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. Her defiant act resulted in agitations and led to the Civil Rights Movement. Later, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was implemented, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of religion, race, or national origin. Although our government is trying to bring in equality amongst people, there are still several communities that are struggling to maintain their dignity and equality in society.
A constitution is a set of rules and regulations guiding the administration of a country. The Constitution of India is the major law in India. It is the framework for political principles, the procedures, powers of government, etc. When India gained independence in 1947, our leaders decided to work for eradication of all kinds of discrimination present in the Indian society. They set out to write our constitution with a vision that all Indians should get equal rights and opportunities and be considered equal. The Constitution of India gives equal rights to men and women and does not allow any discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, gender, or place of birth. The makers of our constitution also realized that economically and socially weaker sections of the country needed more consideration. Therefore, the constitution has many special provisions for the upliftment of the backward sections. It also directs the state to protect the weak and the backward sections of the society from social injustice. To bring about equality, the Constitution declared India to be a secular country where all faiths and religions are accepted and encouraged. Every Indian has the freedom to practice and follow his or her respective religion without fear of discrimination. They can speak their own languages, celebrate their own festivals. The practice of untouchability has been declared as a punishable offense now. To uphold the spirit of diversity, Constitution of India has granted certain rights to every citizen of India, irrespective of their differences in creed, race, gender, religion, place of birth, etc. These are called the fundamental rights.
Fundamental rights given in the Indian Constitution. These fundamental rights lay the foundation of our democratic setup. They protect the secular nature of our country.
Constitution guarantees equality to all the citizens of India. It also states that no individual can be discriminated on the basis of their religion, race, caste, place of birth, or gender. Further, it abolishes untouchability and assures every individual equal access to all public places. The Constitution also grants all adults the right to vote, irrespective of their caste, education, wealth, and religion, also known as Universal Adult Franchise. There are many laws that help protect people from being treated unequally. There are also several government-initiated programs and schemes to improve the lives of people who have been ill-treated for several centuries. One such program is the Midday Meal Scheme, where lunch is provided to students of government elementary schools. Equality can be achieved only when we change our attitude and treat every individual with respect and dignity.
Therefore, Indian Constitution guarantees the right to equality to all the citizens of India. Everyone has equal rights and equal opportunity. Now, untouchability has been legally abolished by the law. Indian Constitution attempts to provide equal rights to the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. It also attempts to find a place for the different languages and religion practices found in different parts of the country. The Constitution of India also provides equal rights to all without forcing the people to give up their personal belief, language, or cultural practices. In India, people are free to choose their jobs and occupation. Government jobs are open to all the people. Respect for diversity is a significant element for ensuring equality. India being a secular country means freedom to practice any religion and equal respect to all the religions. Freedom from government interference in religious affairs of the people. Article 25 of Indian Constitution states, subject to public order, morality and health, and to other provisions of this part, that all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and right to freely profess, practice and propagate religion. Not only this, the Indian Constitution accepts diversity in the social field too. Accepting this diversity, it has taken reasonable steps for the upliftment of the weaker sections of society, like the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, and the other backward classes. The Article 46 of the Constitution states, the states shall promote with special care the educational and economic interests of the weaker sections of the people, and in particular of the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes, and shall protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation.
Our differences are what set us apart as humans, but is the cause of hatred amongst us. There are white people, black people, girls, boys, fat people, skinny people, rich people, poor people, people with different beliefs. But underneath, we are all the same. No matter who you are, your blood is red just like mine. So why should any of us be treated differently?
So children, always remember that no person is born racist or with discriminatory minds. They learn these behaviors from the people and events around them. It is very important that we realize that world is a very big place and there are humans living in other places. very far from you. Because of that, people do things differently and are brought up differently. That means what you think is cool may not be so for another person because of where they come from. Being different is a good thing. Can you imagine if every human or every student was just like you? Learn to appreciate diversity and respect people who are different in any way. People may be disabled, people may be dark-skinned or have a different hair color, they may be thin, they may be fat. No one chooses to be that way. If even people choose to believe or join specific groups, they have a right to belong and a right to believe what they want. So students, we must learn to respect that just as you would like others to respect you for who you are. So students, by this we come to the end of our second chapter of Civics, that is chapter 23, Prejudice, Inequality and Discrimination. Thank you.